Let me know when you're ready, please.
You're good.
Thank you, Caleb. I would like to call to order the Select Board meeting for 2 p.m. on Wednesday, April 16th, 2025, where we will be interviewing 4 candidates for the Finance Director position.
I'll start with that. Sure.
Yes.
This is Megan Green. I'll let you each introduce yourself.
I'm Gloria. Good, how are you? Good. Okay.
Hi, Megan.
Know who most
How are
people
you? Would you state your name for the record if you don't mind?
Megan Green.
Thank you. How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
Well, we are all good, I believe, and thank you for being here. We're going to get right to it if you don't mind. Select Board Member McCaskill will offer first question for you, and then we'll move down the line, each asking 2 questions of you.
Okay.
So if you're ready to begin, I believe we are.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Select Board Member McCaskill.
Thank you. Do you have any prior experience working with a 5-member board? And I would say, if so, what methods do you use to communicate? How do you best communicate with each member?
My experience is with you as the Assistant Town Accountant and providing reports mostly through email or through Joe. And so that's my experience.
Thank you. As I said, the follow-up question is, if not, do you foresee any issue with this model, and how will you go about communicating with each member?
I do not see any problems continuing and developing further my communications with a 5-member board.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you. Now, Select Board Member Kavanaugh.
So do you have experience using the Munis software system?
Yes, I do.
And if so, do you find it to be an effective system?
Yes. And I think there's a lot more we can be doing with it, so.
Okay. Are you able to generate the necessary reports and extract the necessary data to support your job functions along with the requests of other departments and boards?
Yes.
This is, I'm just going to read it, but if not, how will you go about familiarizing yourself with the system, and what will you do if you struggle to make it an effective tool for your purposes? But you're pretty well versed.
Well versed, and I know who to contact for extra help training.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Now it's my turn. Megan, would you please describe the process for preparing a municipal budget?
There are multiple steps, and I believe it starts early in September, where we present on the current year status, and then the board would make their recommendations for the next year budget, and we move to work with the departments to get their requests in and any enhancements if that's being asked for. And that goes through the town administrator to you. And we just keep progressing through. Looking at the sources and uses, we need to know what our available funds are, how the local receipts are looking, and if they'll continue for next year. Are our reserves in good shape? Do the expenses maintain services appropriately, and so on.
Thank you for that. And now we'll hear from Select Board Member Howell.
How do you effectively manage municipal debt?
Well, we know that we have a debt limit, and what we need to, trying to think of exactly what you're asking.
Well, I'll say this to everybody, just, our debt is both anticipated need and also the portfolio that we're carrying already.
Yes.
So
So
how
anticipated.
would you manage all of that to effectively give us status reports?
We have data that can be reported on showing what we already are owing, where we have room to increase our debt, what's being retired, and we have to look at if taking on more debt is the appropriate answer for funding.
Okay, thanks.
Megan, thanks for being here. We're hoping that you can describe your experience with financial forecasting and modeling.
I wouldn't say I have a ton of experience with actually like developing forecast and modeling documents, but I think that is something that we just do continuously throughout the year because we're constantly monitoring all our financial indicators, such as operating revenues and expenses, local receipts, keeping an eye on what's happening in the world so that we are aware of trends and how they may impact us. It just, you can use that and actually, it's something I'd like us to start doing is to create more strategic documents again, and that really show where we are and where we might go.
And can you expand on that at all as far as how we'd accomplish that?
There are a couple different factors that go into it. The forecasting is a lot of looking at the current financial indicators and what might be coming down the road and how expenses will change or revenues. And then I think in terms of a strategy document, you also have to talk to all the different players involved, from residents to boards, and create something that identifies both opportunities and possible problems that need to be fixed, and analyze how to go about fixing the problems or grabbing those opportunities.
Thank you.
Michael, back over to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How do you ensure compliance with the various regulations with municipal finance?
Through reviewing and auditing what is happening in town to make sure that it does meet the various standards that we have to be aware of. If we're not sure how something should be done, there are many resources to make sure that we are in compliance that will help us. I think that's one of the main functions of accounting, is to keep an eye on things and make sure that we are in compliance.
Thank you.
Are you familiar with the Community Preservation Act and specifically how the funding is supposed to be categorized and dispersed? If so, please provide some specific details.
Yes, I have now been involved quite a bit with the CPA, their fund, and also reviewing how they appropriate money during town meeting, and the reserves that have to be done, and the reporting to the state.
I guess, can I just follow up
Yeah.
in terms of saying, I know you've been through the CPC funds and the recent issues, but can you just elaborate on the buckets?
Oh, okay. That there are, that they tend to provide funding for projects that fall into open space, housing, and, I'm gonna blank on the third bucket. Community preservation, I believe, right, or historic, historic. And a certain amount of their revenues each year are to be reserved in those buckets. And then, so, yes.
Yeah, just the allocation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, Megan, you discover an error in a report or process that could have significant consequences if not addressed immediately. What steps would you take to resolve that issue?
I think we have to, so if it depends on the type of error, I suppose, but I think, yeah, we would meet with whoever the involved parties are and figure out what it should be and work on a solution to fix it. And then also make sure that if we need to update policies or procedures on going forward so it doesn't happen again.
Thank you very much. Don?
Okey-doke. Remember, these are all general, so everybody's going to be asked the same question. Have you prepared municipal operating and capital budgets and further given presentations to governmental bodies? And the second part of that is, during the presentation, have you ever been asked a question that you were not sure of, and how did you handle that, or would you handle that?
I have been very involved in preparing the operations budgets and somewhat the capital, not the decision-making on what capital projects will move forward, but then once they've been appropriated, moving them forward. I have not yet presented to any boards, but if I was asked a question that I did not know the answer to, I would say that I don't know the answer, but I will be happy to find out and let you all know.
Pete?
I can't multitask, Mr. Chair, so
That's
I'm
okay.
finishing my notes.
I'm finishing as well.
Megan, this is a trick question for you. If you were to be offered the position, when would you be available to begin, and what contributions would you expect to make during your first 3 months?
Obviously, I think we can say that I would be here already, so that I'd be happy to start whenever it works. And the first 3 months, I think a lot of it is going to be, it would be hiring my replacement and being a full-staffed department again. So training people, getting everybody up to speed on the standards, and then we're kind of moving right into end of year processing, and then pretty soon after that, the audit and the budget, so it will keep flowing. But I do have goals that I'd like to see enacted in the department, both with advancing our use of our Munis Tyler programming, and also starting to work towards a budget document that would include the budget, our policies, and kind of showing that we are following the policies, and be sort of giving the status of the town's financial state, basically.
Can you expand a little bit on the advancement of the use of Munis and the Tyler systems?
Yes. There are aspects, even just, let's say, with invoice entry, which is AP, there are aspects of it that we have not been using that I'd like to start everyone using, and it would help with, it just makes it more efficient for processing and approvals. We'll have better record keeping. It won't just be paper anymore. And there are Munis also has a lot to offer for HR and billing and tax collection that we aren't quite fully using it yet.
So these are modules, sorry, if I could,
Yes.
modules
Yes.
that already
Yep.
exist that we just don't utilize today?
Or we utilize, but not fully.
Okay. Thank you.
Still like to ask that.
Hold on one second.
This is an add-on question for everybody. Is there anything that we didn't ask you that you would like to tell us about yourself?
I think that I have not only shown the past couple years how much I'm able to learn, and I'm excited to keep learning. I've also developed really good relationships throughout town with all the departments, and it would excite me to keep that going. Yeah.
There is no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong.
But that
answer.
is,
Thank you.
I think that, yeah,
Well, thank you, Megan.
feeling,
Well, that concludes our 10 plus 1. And I'm going to look over to our consultant for a recommendation. Would this be the perfect time to thank Megan? And
Yes, yes.
okay.
excellent.
Okay.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for your time.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you for coming,
Need any
Megan.
transportation to get back to work?
I'll call an Uber.
Yeah, get an Uber.
Megan,
Thanks.
if you want to go out that door, that would be great. And if you wouldn't mind closing it behind you, that'd be great. Thank you.
I'll ask this only because it came to my mind as we were going through some additional expanded questioning, right? Should we, we should keep those for all the others as well,
Yes,
all right? And I've written them down, so if you don't remember what you asked,
I did as well.
okay, great, great.
Was there more than one additional question?
Well, there was, so I'll go through it, and that way we can
Yeah.
check our notes. On number 4, I had written down, Don asked, Don mentioned there's anticipated need and a portfolio, and asked about status reports
How they align with each
and
other.
how they align with, correct. So if you want to just make sure that you ask that. And then Pete, on number 5, asked to expand on the strategic forecasting and modeling. Is that what you have?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Now, the only thing I'll say, and I have no problem asking the follow-up questions, but a lot of it is based on the response, right? So it all, if, depending on how the individual responds to the question, that follow-up may or may not be required. That's
Right.
all. So,
I guess that was my point in the
Yep.
questions. I didn't take them as questions, I took them as expansions of
Sure,
questions.
sure. So if that question gets answered for you, Pete,
yeah.
right,
So as long as
obviously,
we're in all agreement, that's all.
that's exactly right. And then Julie asked about, which I thought was great, elaborate on the buckets,
Yep.
which I thought was really great. And then number 10, Pete asked to expand on the Munis, Tyler Systems, and obviously, if it presents itself, what modules, that's kind of more for her, I would assume, than
That was kind of baked in her
baked
answer.
into her answer
Yeah.
because she's here.
Agreed. And
Sure.
again, maybe some of them have no experience with Munis, in which case they won't
Moot
know,
point.
or if they have limited, or perhaps they're gonna tell us, there's a whole bunch of modules that I utilize, and in which case, I don't need to dig, but agreed. We'll
Correct.
play it by ear.
Yeah,
Please.
just to let you know, every single candidate is experienced with Munis.
Great.
That was something that made them all very strong candidates,
Great.
these 4.
And then the last one was yours, which I thought was great, which is anything
It's
we
just,
didn't ask.
have we missed anything?
question?
Yeah.
Mr. Chair.
Oh, sorry.
I would guess that because of the way we're asking through you, because of the way we're asking the questions, going up and down a line, if I ask a question, I'm satisfied with the answer, there's nothing to preclude Select Board Member Howell from saying, can you expand on that, on the same question, correct?
I mean, that's fine, because that's just expanding. It's not asking something else that's giving a leg up, so to speak.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So related to the same questions, no matter who reads it, if a board member wants someone to elaborate or expand, they can ask that.
I thought you were projecting, it was you and I. Hey, who won the cards? I know, right?
So we really only
some interviews go very quickly because people
Yeah,
have,
we really do.
answers.
Everything else is just, yeah, exactly.
and they feel comfortable with the questions. Other people might struggle a little bit or get nervous and just keep going on.
Can't help yourself down there. You're
All
booking.
right, just,
Caleb, are we off?
Negative.
Yes, we would, thank you.